So recently KSI uploaded a strength test video with his brother Deji, and I am encouraging everyone here to not replicate what they are doing. A lot of KSI's viewership are very young children who are more than likely to replicate what KSI and Deji are doing, assuming it is their first time in the gym, and potentially injure themselves if they follow in the same footsteps as KSI and Deji. So today I will be critiquing KSI's strength test video that he did with Deji, and hopefully you all will learn something here today. So the video starts off with the bench press, in which KSI is looking to beat his personal best of 115 kilograms or 253.5 pounds, which he did back in 2019 during the Sidemen strength test. Right off the bat, KSI starts to teach Deji how to bench press.
Come on.
Yeah, nice. Well, do the bench press then.
Oh, you mean like...
Yes, that's a bench press.
Oh.
Well done. Okay.
Which already raises a few flags. When you have a complete beginner maxing out on the bench press, there is a lot of danger coming his way. To start off, their central nervous system will not be primed to bench press the amount of weight they are attempting because they do not bench press regularly. Additionally, complete beginners will not have optimal form or positioning, which can lead to an injury. If you are a beginner in the gym, do not test your max. Give yourself 3 to 6 months of optimal training on compound movements before testing your max. Another thing I notice is how far back the bench is. When KSI and Deji lay on the bench, their shoulders are right below the barbell. To get the most out of your bench press, you want your eyes to be below the barbell before unracking it. This is so you can bench press with optimal technique and bar path without any hindrance, such as the bar hitting the racks. Another thing I notice is how low the racks are. When you compare the rack height to Deji and KSI's locked arms when holding the barbell, they are already doing half of the range of motion. So when they have to unrack, their triceps and shoulders will be working very hard to just unrack the weight before even doing a bench press rep. Because of that, the triceps and shoulders will be fatigued and will take away the performance that KSI and Deji could do on the bench press. And we will be seeing this issue later on in the strength test video. So when we head over to Deji doing 90 kilograms or 198 pounds on the bench press, you could see Deji trying to unrack the weights before revealing that he has pain in his shoulder.
Oh, you know what it is? I hurt my shoulder like a couple days ago, so I feel like it's like coming back a bit.
Deji said during the interview that he hurt his shoulder while fishing, and then KSI ridicules Deji and how he is failing the Olatunji family.
Deji has let down the family name. I'm so disappointed.
When I was fishing, getting it in, I like sprained my shoulder.
What I say is, Deji made the right move. You don't want to test your limits while dealing with any kind of injury because you can cause more harm to it, and therefore you will have to recover a lot longer than you probably want to. Let's say Deji is making an excuse and just does not want to lift 90 kilograms. I also think that's fair because you are least likely to focus on your form, and therefore you are more likely to have an injury. The mind-muscle connection is lacking, and I believe it's very important to have that mind-muscle connection when you are maxing out on a compound exercise. So we move on to KSI lifting 100 kilograms, and this is where the bar path comes in and hinders the ability to lift more. KSI has to lift straight up. Whereas the best studies available show that the best bench press bar path is going up and back simultaneously to get the most out of your bench press. You can still lift while bench pressing straight up, but you will lose optimal performance since the body is not mechanically built to bench press straight up. After KSI does the 100 kilogram bench press, we have another reason as to why I believe the racks were way too low. KSI headbutts the bar. KSI often struggles to get out of the bench because the rack height was way too low. Not only does he struggle to get out of the bench, but he also grunts, which means he is pushing himself before even doing a complete rep on the bench press. Deji also did the same thing with 90 kilograms before his shoulder pain came in.
Yep. You just need to push.
Yeah, no way. It's coming.
Push. When are you gonna
Throughout the video, KSI teaches Deji how to spot, which is incredibly dangerous when you're maxing out. If you are maxing out on the bench press, you want to find a spotter that knows what they are doing. Now, there isn't any safety racks on the bench press, so a spotter is a must-need alternative. KSI is having Deji protect his well-being without any training whatsoever. If you are failing a lift on a bench press and you have an inexperienced spotter, the chances of suffering an injury is quite large, and we saw potential injury risks during the 120 kilogram bench press. KSI attempts the weight by unracking it using his triceps and shoulders, due to how low the rack is, and again, you can hear him grunting. And when KSI attempts to lift the weights, he loses his leg drive, he loses his stability, and he makes a mockery out of it. Because KSI lost all of his stability on the bench press, Deji has to do more work, to which Deji, not surprisingly, failed at doing.
Wait, I need help.
To compensate both bad lifting and spotting, KSI dumps out one side of the weights, and then the bar tips over to the other side. This part here was extremely dangerous, and I am encouraging everybody watching to not replicate what they are doing. For whatever reason, KSI reattempts the 120 kilogram bench press. Now here's the reason why he will not lift 120 kilograms. To start off, KSI will have to unrack the weights using his triceps and shoulders a second time, performing the second half of the bench press without actually doing the complete lift. When we look back at the poor positioning by KSI and the bad spotting by Deji, KSI was pressing as much as he could so he could help Deji unrack the weights with him. Just like the first time, KSI does not provide any leg drive. He is unstable, he is unbalanced, he is lacking energy in the bench press, and this time Deji does much better at spotting but only barely re-racks the weights with KSI. This was the best example on how to injure yourself during the bench press, and I am encouraging everybody watching to not replicate what they are doing. After KSI's poorly planned bench press max out, we then head over to the deadlift. More specifically, the trap bar deadlift. So KSI claims in the video that his personal best deadlift is 180 kilograms, which he also did back in 2019 during the Sidemen strength test.
So my PB for my deadlift was 180 kilograms.
However, his personal best is actually 225 kilograms, which you can find on KSI's third YouTube channel, KSI Clips. Now that might just me be nitpicky, but I do believe that there should be some realism in this, given that KSI is making videos mostly in front of children. Additionally, KSI is comparing his conventional deadlift with a trap bar deadlift. Now both the trap bar deadlift and the conventional deadlift are a hinge exercise, but they both play a different role. The trap bar deadlift allows more stimulation on the quadricep muscles because the gravity of the weight is in the center, and it makes it easier to get into an optimal stable position. The conventional deadlift, however, is in front of you instead of the center, which requires more hinging and technique efficiency to stay stable during the deadlift. Additionally, you have to factor the handles on the trap bar deadlift, which are a few inches higher than a regular barbell. This means KSI does not have to do as much work because there is less range of motion and less hinging during the trap bar deadlift when comparing the conventional deadlift. You are more likely to lift more weights on a trap bar deadlift than you can on a conventional deadlift, so I don't think it's a fair comparison of two completely different exercises. What I've also noticed since the beginning of the video are the shoes that KSI and Deji are wearing. KSI is wearing running shoes while Deji is wearing sandals. The reason I'm bringing their footwear up is because the shoes that you wear during lifting does matter a lot. Running shoes are designed to cushion your feet to prevent excessive force on your feet when it's against hard surfaces such as asphalt or concrete. Sandals do not have as much cushioning, but they do provide comfort for the feet. Now here is why wearing running shoes and sandals are a bad idea when lifting weights. Your feet play a crucial role in stability, as they are designed that way to help you with anything related to standing. When you are lifting with cushioned shoes, you are more likely to wobble due to how unstable your feet is. Running shoes are a soft surface and should have no room when lifting weights. There are several videos out there of people lifting weights with running shoes, and you can see how unstable they are. They are struggling to stay balanced due to to the unstable environment their foot is in. Running shoes also spring your toes up, which are designed that way to allow your shoes to roll more comfortably when running. This is also harmful to the feet because your toes cannot root to the ground to provide stability to the entire body. Deji sandals do not have as much cushioning as KSI's running shoes, but is still not completely stable. If you want the best out of compound exercises like the deadlift alongside squats, overhead press, barbell rows, etc., the best idea is to go barefoot or wear barefoot styled shoes. Drifting towards that method will allow the feet to stable the entire body as they are designed to do so. If you have bad ankle mobility, you can also wear weightlifting shoes with a raised heel, but only for squatting. Nothing else. Now when we move on to the trap bar deadlift, both Deji and KSI's form is actually not that bad. Even though they do not pull slack out of the bar, which is where you wedge yourself against the bar before lifting the weights at all, both Deji and KSI does maintain a neutral spine and does not round their low back. A rounded low back is a common error and a common injury when it comes to the deadlift, such as a disc herniation on the lumbar spine, which is located on your low back. Although KSI does lose a little bit of tightness during the 200 kilogram deadlift, their performance on here was way better than it was on the bench press, minus the harmful footwear. KSI maxes out at 200 kilograms, which he claims is a personal best, but again, it is not, but it's still a great achievement nonetheless. So now we move on to pull-ups for maximum reps. Pull-ups are an amazing calisthenics exercise because you are pulling your entire body using your lats. That is, only if you are doing it properly. Deji starts off the pull-up competition and is only doing half reps, not locking his arms out or stretching his lats. Now you can see anabolic growth from doing partial range of motion pull-ups, but when you are testing your pull-up max, then you should be doing a pull-up, not a partial pull-up. Doing pull-ups with a full range of motion is far better because you are controlling your own body. You will have a deep stretch in your lats, which will also stimulate growth, and it will also provide shoulder stability. And it can be very helpful if you are dealing with shoulder pain like Deji is. KSI does win the pull-up competition by doing the exact same range of motion as Deji, and it probably wouldn't have made a difference had the two done a full, complete, proper pull-up. But I believe if you are claiming to test your pull-up strength, then it should be performed properly with a full range of motion, which was better performed back in 2019 thanks to the guidance of Sean, who is a certified personal trainer. What I've also noticed during the pull-up was that Deji was shifting to the left while he is ascending, which shows that he is likely dealing with shoulder mobility or stability imbalances, which can over time lead to muscle imbalances. The best way to fix pull-up shifting is to start doing scapular pull-ups to teach your body how to lift evenly. Doing mobility work on one of your lats can also help if one of your lats is tighter than the other. After the pull-ups, KSI and Deji perform planks in the middle of a boxing ring, which is glorifying KSI's Prime hydration drink, which he and Logan Paul founded. And before the crappy sponsorship convinces you to buy one, I'm going to tell you why, as a certified hater of Prime, why you should not buy the drink. Prime has advertised itself as a hydration drink, and proper hydration requires replenishing water and sodium into your body, because that is what you are primarily sweating out during exercise. However, Prime heavily relies on potassium, which is an electrolyte that does not sweat out nearly as much as water and sodium does. Prime also lacks sugar. Now, you do not want to drink or consume a lot of sugar if you did not exercise yet. You rather want to consume sugar after exercise so you can speed up the recovery process, to which glucose aids in replenishing water and sodium, which are the primary things you need after sweating. Even if you don't want to consume sugar, the best option is to drink something like a sugar-free Gatorade, which is high on sodium and low on potassium, something the body is optimal at replenishing, over Prime that does the exact opposite. Because the body is lacking sodium, the recovery process will be much slower than what Prime believes. Prime also has a lot of vitamin A, specifically at 900 milligrams, which is the recommended dose for the average person. But you also have to factor the foods we eat every single day. There's a lot of food out there that contains vitamin A, so when you drink Prime and you add in breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, you are over-consuming vitamin A, which can also slow down the recovery process. So in my conclusion, Prime is not a hydration drink, and I do not recommend it. Do not listen to the sponsors because they are lying and want your money. So that will conclude the video. I hope you all learned something new today. Again, please do not replicate what Deji and KSI have done in their strength training video. And if you have learned anything new today, then be sure to leave a like on the video. Or if you have anything else on your mind, then be sure to leave it in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching.